The mean one is a parody of How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And the mean one is also portrayed by David Howard Thornton, who played Art the Clown in the Terrifier films. Now, I think I'm glad that I went into it knowing it's a comedy, knowing it's kind of a spoof of the well-known movie of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, because if I came into this thinking I was going to see something scary, I would have been very, very disappointed. I think this movie will work for some people, maybe not so much for others. It's kind of hit and miss with me. I'm just going to be absolutely honest with you. One of the somewhat ongoing gags is the fact that apparently they cannot say the Grinch, call him the mean one, or the monster, or this creature that lives up in the forest or near the mountain. And they cannot say Cindy Lou Who. They just call her Cindy You Know Who. If you have no idea what the Grinch was actually about, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which honestly, I've only ever watched the 2000 version with Jim Carrey. I've never watched the original cartoon, although I do get the gist of what the Grinch did. The Grinch was this creature that lived up above Whoville and basically just detested everything the Who people did, and eventually came down and destroyed Christmas for him. Which, as some people say, he didn't hate Christmas, he hated people, which is fair. I understand where the mean one is coming from. They're trying to make this scary, but they also made it a comedy because apparently they decided, you know what, we can't really make this realistic, so we'll go on and throw some comedy in there. And there are some parts that land for me. Some parts are just more like, haha, I get it. Yeah, that's kind of like How the Grinch Stole Christmas, but different. I'm going to talk a little bit about the very beginning and the end. So in the beginning, we talk about how this little girl walks downstairs, and her name is Cindy You Know Who, because once again, not allowed to say certain things. She comes down and there's this person in a Santa suit, which pats her on the head, and she's asking why is he doing this. So she gives him her necklace and he takes it. Cindy You Know Who's mother comes down and yells, "Oh my God, it's a monster, get away from him." And she starts beating him, which by the way, him is the, I almost said the G word. No, the mean one. There's a little bit of a fight, I suppose, going on. Cindy's mother trips and is impaled by some part of the, I believe it's a nutcracker. It goes through her neck and she dies. At this point, the little girl starts yelling, "Monster!" Later, we see her traveling with her dad, and long story short, they're going back to the old home where her mother was murdered because they're going to sell it. And she's going back to, I almost said it, nope, not Whoville, but Newville, once again. Copyright infringements, not allowed to say some things. And while they're driving, they're stopped by this deputy because they have the antlers and the nose on the car. The deputy stops and he's just absolutely enthralled by Cindy. Cindy, to me, it's kind of funny because she looks a lot like Meredith from the TV show The Office.
I'm excited about doing the ad, but I'm not really used to doing videos with so many people around.
It's probably just the hairstyle. I really want to call her Meredith now. But so the deputy's absolutely in love with her, and the father is like, "Is there a problem?" So he says, "You can't have the antlers or the nose on your car. It's a distraction." That's what the sheriff says. So apparently no Christmas decorations are allowed. They find out later no one in the whole town celebrates Christmas. And this is kind of an odd scene that they added, and it's kind of a running joke throughout the film. In the scene when they're in the diner, it's Cindy, her father, and the deputy, and the sheriff, and the father says, "Well, no one celebrates Christmas in this town, apparently."
Why I light the candles 8 nights a year.
You're Jewish.
Was it the nose?
Wait, what?
And I'm like, I don't, am I supposed to be laughing? Am I allowed to laugh at that Jewish joke? I don't know. And it's kind of a running gag throughout the film. They talk about it a couple other times, like when they're trying to lure the mean one out. The Jewish deputy tries to sing, I think it was Jingle Bells, but he didn't know the lyrics. And I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter what religion you are. If you're in America, you probably know the lyrics to Jingle Bells. So he starts singing the dreidel song, and I think that actually brings the mean one out. So the mean one just hates any type of religious affiliation whatsoever. So I just want to mention that odd and awkward scene in the diner really quick. We also learned that Cindy has spent some time in the mental hospital.
They turned me loose in the nervous hospital, and I was well.
Because she witnessed her mother get killed by what she thought was a monster, which I think is fair enough. I think if anybody goes through something like that, especially as a young child, I kind of expect them to have some PTSD from that. And as they're decorating their house, Cindy gets locked out of the house and she thinks her dad is playing a trick on her until she looks through the window of the door and sees her father being attacked by this dark figure. She gets through the door and witnesses her own father's demise. Then she wakes up in the hospital with still blood on her hands. That's one of the problems I have with this. They kind of go back and forth. They have some flashbacks. They have some dream sequences. I don't know if this is her hallucinating, but in the end, it doesn't really matter. I am not gonna lie, I'm gonna skip a lot of this because I'm not going into full detail. I'm just gonna talk about the beginning and I'll talk about the end. So here are the spoilers. The end is actually kind of funny, only because of the fact of what happens to not the Grinch, what happens to the mean one. At the very end, there's been this whole fight, this whole battle between the mean one and Cindy, and eventually she's in the house, she's on top of him, she's about ready to murder him, she's at a good point in her life to kill him, and she notices the mean one is still wearing the necklace she gave him years ago. She basically forgives him because she doesn't want to become like the mean one and just hold grudges against people, although he did kill many innocent people.
Just because I'm evil doesn't mean everything I do is evil.
But that's besides the point. She forgives him, as in the movie. His heart grew 3 sizes that day because his heart was so small. But because his heart grew 3 sizes in the mean one, I'm sorry, he yells, "Go!" And then he flips over on his chest and his heart explodes and it kills him. That made me laugh so hard. I admit that part got me. That part was funny. And it's kind of a shame that you don't see too much of that type of play on the story. Like, they could have really mocked a lot of things. Oh, they also kind of hint that there's a chance that he can come back. Like, there's a chance that something bad can happen again next year because you hear like this screeching.
And they all lived happily ever after, at least till next year.
Either he rejuvenates himself like Deadpool, or there's another, I almost said it, but there's another mean one out there in them thar hills. I don't know. I don't really care. But if it's going to be a comedy, go on, make it a comedy. Like, if it had been full-blown comedy throughout, I think I would have enjoyed it more. For me, it didn't really work. I know some people out there love it. If you love it, I'm happy for you. It's just, it wasn't for me. I do wish that they had the mean one speak more or make more jokes or be more comedic. Not saying he wasn't in the film, he kind of was in certain scenes, but I wish that, yes, I guess when I'm kind of comparing it to Jim Carrey, because it's more like the Jim Carrey version because it's just a guy in a suit and makeup. But Jim Carrey's makeup, at least he could emote more. Most of these scenes were actually filmed like during the day in broad daylight, but there were very few scenes where I could actually see the mean one. Did you like the movie? Have you seen the mean one yet? Do you plan on it? Did you think that that was a good use of David Howard Thornton, or do you wish that they had more of his character in the film and maybe have some more emotion? I'm not trying to compare it to Art the Clown from Terrifier because it's not the same character. I think a lot of people saw the mean one because they were hoping it was going to be similar to Art the Clown, and it is not. I think that it could have been better. Obviously, it could have been worse, but will I watch it again? Probably not. I didn't absolutely hate the movie. Like I said, I've seen a hell of a lot worse videos out there. It was like right on the edge of being something that I probably would have really enjoyed, and it just didn't make it. But that's for me. And if you enjoyed this video whatsoever, check out my other videos on my channel. Maybe there's something there you'll like. I have a bit of a cold or something going on, so I'm sorry if I don't sound all that coherent. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye.